Imagine standing in a bustling slave market at the Forum Barium in Rome. The auctioneer bellows, "Greek boy, 12 years old, can read and write. Starting bid, 1,500 denarii. Who's going higher?" Nearby stands a weary Thracian farmhand listed for just 500 denarii. A young Syrian woman, her beauty evident, commands a staggering price of 6,000 denarii. This begs the question, how did the Romans determine the price of a human life? What factors influence these valuations, and how can we compare these amounts to modern money? Let's break it down. The heart of the Roman slave trade. Slave markets were the beating heart of Rome's complex economy, where individuals were bought and sold as casually as modern consumers purchase smartphones. Just as we rely on contracts for major transactions, the Romans had paperwork for every sale. Contracts, receipts, and documentation of delivery not of goods, but of human beings. This has given us a unique window into the brutal, everyday reality of slavery in the Roman world. Slavery was interwoven into Roman life from the city's founding until the fall of the Western Empire. Prices for slaves fluctuated with the tides of war, economic trends, and social shifts. Our focus is primarily on a specific period from the 1st century BCE to the 2nd century CE. Why this period? Because it's the best documented era in Roman history. The asterisk Corpus Inscriptionum Latinarum asterisk, a vast collection of Latin inscriptions, spans 17 volumes, 16 of which originate from the imperial period. This time frame is rich with literature as well. Approximately 90% of surviving Roman texts are from this era, featuring prominent authors like Cicero, Caesar, and Lucretius, who were active during its twilight years. Together, this indicates a peak in both documentation and the prevalence of slavery. After Caesar's campaigns, markets were overwhelmed with hundreds of thousands of captives. Concurrently, the Roman economy remained relatively stable and, like later periods, characterized by rising inflation and currency devaluation. Consequently, this 250-year stretch offers the clearest picture of how the Roman slave market operated, complete with consistent prices and defined standards. What influenced slave prices? The Romans treated the valuation of slaves with cold, calculated logic, much like livestock. The first and foremost factor influencing a slave's price was their origin. Romans maintained specific, often stereotypical views about different ethnic groups. Greeks were esteemed for their culture, education, and reliability, making them desirable for household management or personal assistance. Gauls and Germans were valued for their physical strength, ideal for gladiatorial training or hard labor. Slaves from the eastern regions, such as Syrians and Phoenicians were often purchased for their skills in crafts, trade, and management. Newly conquered peoples were typically less expensive initially, but as these groups assimilated and adapted to Roman customs, their value increased. Skill and education skills greatly influenced a slave's market value. Unskilled slaves fetched lower prices, while those with trades, literacy, or education commanded much more. A common slave without special talents might sell for a few hundred denarii, but a skilled craftsman could fetch up to 10 times that amount. For instance, a shoemaker sold for 4,000 denarii, comparable to the monthly wage of a Roman legionary, which was about 20 denarii. Intellectual professions were even higher valued. A Greek grammaticus teacher could sell for 10,000 denarii, while a doctor might reach as high as 20,000, a similar amount to a small house in Rome. The poet Martial noted the outrageous price of a cook specializing in exotic dishes at a staggering 100,000 denarii, equivalent to a full country estate. A talented Greek actor named Penargus reportedly sold for an astonishing 700,000 denarii, a price that indicated not just utility, but status. Age and physical attributes. Age also played a significant role in pricing. Slaves aged 15 to 25 were the most valuable due to their work capacity and longevity. Younger children were often sold at lower prices due to the risks associated with their survival. Many infants were even given away for free with their mothers. However, as children reached around 10, their prices began to rise, representing safer investments. Physical characteristics were critical in determining value. For laborers, strength mattered most. An able-bodied worker could command a higher price compared to someone deemed delicate. In auctions, buyers would make slaves demonstrate their physical capabilities, inspecting for any visible defects or chronic illnesses. For household slaves, beauty was paramount. Young boys and girls with desirable physical traits commanded higher prices. Sellers would often groom statuesque young slaves, enhancing their attractiveness through appearance and cosmetic treatments. Gender differences in valuation. Gender drastically influenced market dynamics. Male slaves, generally more plentiful, were often seen as the most versatile labor force, whereas female slaves were assessed using an intricate set of criteria. Their values hinged not only on labor potential but also on factors like youth, beauty, and reproductive capability. Certain female roles bore additional price tags. Wet nurses were especially valuable, with prices starting at around 3,000 denarii, as many wealthy Roman women preferred not to breastfeed. Women specialized in cosmetics and midwifery were also in high demand, further increasing their market values. Market forces and price fluctuations. Market forces influenced prices significantly. Just like today, supply and demand drove valuations, but the fluctuations in ancient Rome could be dramatic. Wars, for example, directly impacted the slave market. Following military conquests, legions would return with thousands of captives, causing a sudden influx that would depress prices. Conversely, during periods of peace, prices tended to rise. By the 2nd century CE, as military campaigns dwindled and borders stabilized, the slave market increasingly depended on breeding within the empire and trade with non-Roman tribes. Location also influenced pricing. Rome boasted the highest prices due to its affluent buyers and constant demand. A slave that might sell for 2,000 denarii in the capital could go for only 800 in a remote town. Understanding Roman prices in modern terms. Converting ancient Roman prices into modern equivalents isn't straightforward and lacks a universally accepted method. A common approach is to analyze the silver content of the denarius, which contained about 4.5 grams of silver, approximately worth around $6 today. However, this doesn't accurately reflect the purchasing power of the coin. Another method involves comparing the cost of everyday items. For instance, it's noted that 1 denarius could buy about 4 kilos of pork or a whole chicken, hinting the spending power of a denarius might range from $20 to $25 by comparing wages. A Roman soldier earned roughly 225 denarii a year under Augustus, which translates to around $200 per denarius today. However, direct comparisons often fall short since modern economics differ greatly from the Roman economy. Agricultural practices then relied heavily on manual labor, contrasting sharply with today's mechanized farming. Conclusion. Let's venture into a few hypothetical slave auction scenarios to put this information into context. Consider these examples. 1. A 22-year-old Gaul strong and fit but missing 2 fingers. How much would he be worth? 2. A 55-year-old Greek fluent in Greek and Latin, well-versed in philosophy, but significantly older. What price tag would he carry? 3. An 11-year-old Numidian boy healthy, quick to learn but lacking specific skills. What might he fetch? 4. A 17-year-old Syrian girl trained in dancing, cooking, and fluent in Greek. How high would her price go? 5. An 28-year-old Thracian strong and battle-hardened with combat experience, but showing signs of prior wounds. What market value would he hold? 6. A 25-year-old Germanic man strong but branded as a fugitive. How would his past affect his auction price? To grasp the true economic dynamics of the Roman slave market, we must appreciate the complexities that dictated the value of a human life. Through understanding these factors, we can piece together a nuanced picture of slavery in ancient Rome, one that reveals its profound impact on society and its economy.